am Diana Becker and welcome back to my channel. We went ghost hunting in Mexico with absolutely zero preparation. In fact, I've never been to Mexico before. I know nothing about Mexico. I knew there were travel advisories about violence in Mexico. We decided to go for Day of the Dead because we like ghost hunting. So we bought these tickets 8 months in advance, and my house hadn't sold. When I did sell, I had to get everything out in 30 days, and the closing was less than 30 days from the date we were supposed to fly. I ended up having so much stuff I had to hire movers 5 times to get everything out of my house. I was exhausted. I didn't even take the time to Google Mexico. I just woke up that Saturday and I was like, okay, we'll just go. I have a friend in Mexico named Marcela. She's like a sister to me. She had to go back to Mexico because she was sick, and she's covered by their health care there. And she had been the nanny to my daughter since the day she was born. We love her like family. And we had helped her a lot, and she had helped us a lot through a lot of difficult times. So I trusted her. This episode is about faith and trust and preconceptions. So the only thing I knew about Mexico was you shouldn't drink the water. That was it. That was the only thing I knew. I didn't know if I'd be safe. Marcela said, I couldn't even send cash ahead till the last minute. I wanted to send cash ahead so they could get groceries. They'd be feeding 2 more people, and I knew how little money they had. And also Marcela's wheelchair bound. And I finally was able to send cash ahead, but before I could send it, she said, don't worry about it. Please just come and visit us. We'll eat rice and beans. If you don't mind that, just come and stay with us. I want to see you. So it was sort of a leap of faith. I was exhausted. I was moving things every single day. I was, after 20 years of struggling and fighting, and then these last 8 months of moving and trying to sell my house and cleaning, and I finally just went to bed, woke up the next morning, and we got on the plane. So I didn't know what to expect, and the only thing I knew, of course, was don't drink the water. It's the only thing I knew about Mexico. So we get there, and they picked us up. People took time off from work. Her cousins, her nieces, her nephews took time off from work to drive us around, to drive us home. We were a little scared going through customs. My daughter forgot to leave her pepper spray at home. And we're going through customs, and she's having to declare weapons, and she's like, is it okay I have this pepper spray? And the lady at the counter, who seemed to speak English, didn't understand what it was. And so I'm acting out, guy with a gun, and oh no, and shh. She said, oh, inhaler. And I said, no. So she called her supervisor over, and we tried to explain it, and he seemed to speak English, but when I tried to explain pepper spray, he's like, what is pepper spray? And I'm acting it out, and he's like, it's okay. He didn't know what it was. So finally we get to Marcela's house, and I asked her, how do you say pepper spray in Spanish? We had been practicing a little Spanish on Duolingo, the app, and I didn't learn the word pepper spray. So I finally asked Marcela, how do you say this in Spanish? And she goes, oh, pepper spray. So anyway, we get to the airport. They pick us up. The people who pick us up, oh my God, we were crying and hugging. We hadn't seen Marcela in years. Marcela is the woman who was there for me when I had an abusive husband. She was the nanny of my children. She was the housekeeper. He kept trying to get her fired because she was standing up for me. She was telling me how she had an abusive husband once, and she understood. She couldn't tell me you have to leave him, because when you're in an abusive relationship, a lot of times you feel controlled and afraid to leave. But she was supportive and there for me, and she loved my children like her own, and I trusted her with them, and I trusted her with us when we went to Mexico. And here she is in a wheelchair, but we're driving down these cobblestone streets. We get to our house, they open the gate, we go inside, and they have strewn a path of marigold petals all the way to the ofrenda for Day of the Dead, and they decorated with the paper decorations and candles, and everything was perfect and beautiful. And I was so exhausted. I was so exhausted from months and months of trying to sell my house. I said, and then I said, let me just lay down for a minute. And she says, oh, we're having a lot of people come over to greet you. She had like 50 relatives coming over to hang out and do a piñata and have a potluck, and everybody, a big party, like the prodigal son coming home. And so we were the guests of honor. But I was so exhausted, I went to bed and I couldn't wake up for like 6 hours, and I wandered down and I didn't get hardly any footage of this party. Oh, what is this? A whole package of the same? Oh, okay. What's this? Ooh.
Borrachitos.
Gaby, you want a borrachito?
Borrachitos.
Gummies. Oh, they're so good.
Taste it, taste.
What? Oh, how pretty. But they were all curious to meet us, had heard so much about us. I had sent her money when she was needing an operation, and we were like sisters. So this is going to be some of my stories from Mexico, some of my footage, some of the lifestyle, which I had no idea about. But I just want to say about not drinking the water. So I get down there and I said, what are we going to do? I'm really afraid that we might get sick from the water. And basically all she said is, nobody drinks the water here. So it's like, why are people in the U.S. so afraid of going to Mexico when nobody in Mexico drinks the water either? They all have bottled water, and they use bottled water to wash their vegetables, and it's silly. It's like, I knew right then I could just let my guard down, because she was going to take care of me just the same as if I was at home. And sure enough, you know, I never got sick or felt threatened in any way in that country. I worried about violence because I had read something about violence in Guadalajara, and she says, oh, it's just like when you're in Mexico and you hear how violent LA is. It's just the news. So we were safe the entire time. We were secure. We lived in a beautiful home, and they treated us like family, and we had the best time ever. And this is going to be some of my stories from Mexico, and also from seeing some ghosts in Mexico. So I hope you enjoy it.